Welcome to Easy English by Eddie Singh, and today we are going to do class 10 literature miscellaneous question answers for board exams, particularly a revisional assignment. Alright? Well children, today's discussion is based on board question answers. Most of you are preparing for board exams and you need certain revisional assignment. So this will help all the board examinees, class 10 board examinees, for preparing their exam and particularly for literature work, assignment in literature. Well, Manish, start asking question.
Read the extract given below and answer the questions. He holds him with his skinny hand. There was a ship, quoth he. Hold off, unhand me. Grey bird loon. Eft soons his hand dropped he.
Well, Manish, first of all you ask, sir, where has this extract been taken?
Sir, where has
This extract has been taken from A Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner by S.T. Coleridge. Now you ask question.
First question is, synonym of skinny is dash.
Yes, synonym of skinny is thin. The mariner's hand was skinny and he held the wedding guest with his skinny hand.
Second question, why does he hold him with his skinny hand?
He held him with his skinny hand just to stop the wedding guest to listen to his sorrowful tale. To listen to his?
Sorrowful.
Yes.
Third question, who is the grey bird loon here?
Here the grey bird loon is the ancient mariner. Rishi, the grey bird loon is the ancient mariner.
Fourth question, whose hand was held by he?
Yeah, the wedding guest's hand was held by the ancient mariner.
Do you think the tiger shooting organized by the villagers was a serious affair? Give reasons for your answer.
Yes, in my opinion, organizing a tiger shoot was a serious affair because to hunt animals, and that also of a rare species like tiger, was totally against the law. No one is permitted to hunt animal or hunt tiger, particularly in any area which is forested area. So this was a serious affair on the part of the people. The villagers were certainly guilty of killing a tiger. They had no right to shoot any animal for their pleasure. Mrs. Speckletide along with the villagers might be put to question why they had organized a tiger shoot in an area which is totally meant for wild animals. So they clearly suggested that the thing that was organized in the village was totally unlawful, illegitimate and questionable. Probably Mrs. Speckletide's thrill of shooting a tiger might be a question of argument for the people. Particularly the environmentalists may be annoyed with this activity because the government has already banned shooting any rare species like tiger or lion. Go ahead.
What is the moral of the poem, not marble nor the gilded monuments?
Well, the sonnet, not marble nor the gilded monument, written by William Shakespeare, highlights two important facts. Number one is that poetry immortalizes our love. We can perpetuate our love for our friend or beloved by writing poems. And the second most important thing that is being highlighted is that our life is just transitory. No one can remain immortal by erecting a monument or a statue. People generally believe that we can erect a monument or a statue in somebody's name and we can perpetuate his memory in the coming generation. That is quite an illusion because no monument, no architectural design can perpetuate the love and memory of someone. The only way we can make the love of our beloved ones immortal is by writing poems, because poetry immortalizes our love. It remains unaffected even by the forces of war, even by the sluggish time. But monuments and a statue erected in memory of someone gets destroyed by sluggish time in the course of time. Go ahead.
Why did the postmaster go to the office at 3 a.m.?
Yeah, the postmaster was worried about his sick daughter's news. He was not getting any news about his daughter who was sick in some another town. So he went to 3 o'clock just expecting that a letter might come. And that time actually he was also expected to deliver the letter of Miriam to Coachman Ali, thinking that Coachman Ali always came at 4 o'clock in the morning. He reached 1 hour before just to hand over Miriam's letter personally to him. He just wanted to compensate with the, behavior that he has done with Coach Manali. He was regretful with his ill behavior, and therefore he wanted to compensate the loss and wanted to make it, sound better. And that is the reason why he went at 3 o'clock, expecting that Coach Manali would come at 4 o'clock, and then he will deliver Miriam's letter. And by doing so, at least he will lessen his sin and commitment that he has done with Coach Manali. Go ahead.
What qualities of Nicola and Jacopo made the narrator call them the two gentlemen?
Yeah, Nicola and Jacopo were hardworking. They had a willingness to work. They were well mannered. They approached the narrator while selling the wild strawberries like a gentleman. They spoke very politely, and they were quite concerned about their business. They didn't bother about what the people said. They just went on seriously performing their task, like they were selling strawberries, they're polishing shoes, they're conducting tours, they're hawking newspaper. All the work they did with sincerity and responsibility. And what was really striking for the narrator was that their willingness to work. They were willing to do any sort of work for for their livelihood. And they were also trying to earn in order to, help their elder sister, Lucia, recover from tuberculosis of the spine. And so we can say that though they were, younger in ages, yet they had the sense of responsibility of elder people, and they behaved thoroughly as a gentleman. Their sense of responsibility, devotion, and hard work makes them behave like gentlemen. That is the reason they were the examples of nobility. They were the examples of inspiration for the society, and that is the reason why the narrator calls them gentlemen of Verona.
How has the poet eternalized the subject of his attention in the poem, not marble nor the gilded monuments?
Yeah, the poet William Shakespeare has, made the subject totally eternal. That what happens that we generally get, physical things erected in memory of someone. Monuments and a statue are physical structures. They get destroyed in the course of time. But the eternity of mankind, the eternity of our love lies not in physical designs and monuments. It lies in something that comes from the bottom of our heart. That is in the form of contents of poem. The poem that is written by the poet can perpetuate our love, and it can really eternalize our love for someone. That is the reason why the poet prefers to, write poems in memory of his friend, in love of his friend, rather than erecting poems and monuments. Because he believes that the eternity of our love lies in our feelings and emotions rather than in physical structure. And that's what I believe.
Describe the meeting between the frog and the nightingale.
Yeah, as soon as the nightingale sat on the sumach tree and started singing her melodious song, it created a good impression among the audience. The audience received the song so warmly that they all clapped, they cheered the nightingale. But the frog, received the nightingale quite coldly. He didn't have any happiness. He sat beneath the sumach tree and cried, just like a, jealous creature. And not only that, he croaked, disturbing the nightingale preparation for singing at the next time. And so, not only he criticized her song, he also became jealous. And he sat beneath the sumach tree and cried in jealousy.
How John Hallock was an excellent ghost story writer. Do you agree?
Yes, I totally agree with, the narrator that John Hallock was an excellent ghost story writer. The way he built up suspense, the way he created the plot was really catching. It was really appealing to the readers. He built up certain, base of the ghost stories, making the, characters live. His ghosts were live proportions. They didn't look like imaginary ghosts. They behaved like real ghosts. For instance, the story that he was narrating, appeared like a real story. And the plot that he, collected was based on his experience. Most of his stories were based on his day-to-day experience. He collected and gathered information about the ghost through his day-to-day life. Therefore, the way he wrote the story, the way he built up the plot, the way he selected the characters, the way he, created amusement in the story really suggests that he was an excellent ghost story writer. And that is the reason why the readers particularly bought that magazine for reading the ghost stories. Always he was in demand of writing ghost story. Jenkins, whenever he met him, he always pestered a demand for writing ghost stories. That is one evidence to suggest that he was an excellent ghost story writer.
Why why was the albatross called a Christian soul?
Yeah, the mariners were basically Christians. They were superstitious also. They believed that the arrival of the bird was just an auspicious sign. What did they believe, Manish? They believed that the arrival of the bird was an auspicious sign because that bird came in the hour of difficulty. The mariners were totally in trouble. They were all, in cold weather. They had icebergs to face. Their ship got stuck in the silent sea. They were completely out of reach. They were not able to steer with their ship. And in that very troubled time, the bird came, albatross came. Not only the bird flew round and round the ship and made the icebergs melt, but it also created a favorable weather. The favorable south wind blew behind the mariners. Therefore, we can say that the bird was really a messenger of God. And the mariners were superstitious. They were religious minded. They were Christian. So they believed that God had sent the bird as a messenger just to rescue them from their trouble.
What do you learn about the family of Nicola, Jacopo and their sister Lucia?
Yeah, we come to realize that the family of Nicola have suffered a lot. They have suffered harsh, conditions due to war against the German. They lost their, father, the only, parent they had in the war. Not only that, they also suffered a starvation and hunger. There was no food. There was no shelter. They built a temporary house with the boulders and a hatch. And they started living there. They also, took care of their elder sister. They found that their elder sister suffered from tuberculosis of the spine. They got her admitted in a private hospital. And for many days, they remained without food. They struggled to survive. This really suggests that the family of Nicola and Jacopo had suffered a lot. They had already lost their father in the war and they had lost their shelter. So the war had ruined their life, made them suffer and made them starve.
What are the 3 things that grandfather plans to do on next Monday?
Grandfather plans to go to the court to change his will because he doesn't believe in his daughter's, crocodile tears. He believes that they are very greedy and therefore he wants to change his will. Second thing, that he wants to go to the insurance office to pay his insurance premium that he has not paid. And the third thing, that he has decided to go to the, Ringo Bell church where Mrs. Schrock lives. And he has decided to marry her and live the whole life with that lady. These are the 3 things that the gentleman, Abel Merriweather, had decided to do. Yeah.
How was the frog benefited in 2 ways?
Yeah, the frog was benefited in 2 ways. Firstly, the frog collected gold and silver as the collection from the musical show. The frog collected gold and silver as collection from the musical show. And secondly, the frog exploited the talent of the nightingale, imparting her wrong training that eventually made her die. So he got rid of his rival and once again became an unrivaled king of the bog. So that is 2 ways the frog benefited from the nightingale.
How does the poet describe his beloved in the poem, Not Marble Nor the Gilded Monument?
Yeah, the poet William Shakespeare describes his beloved just as an eternal soul. He says that even on the last day of judgment, his beloved friends will rise from the ashes of destruction and will come alive. He says that the coming generation eyes will be just with the memory of his beloved friends. His beloved friends will be in the eyes of the coming generation. They will remember him through the poems that he has written, even on the last day of judgment, on the doomsday, on the doomsday, and his poetry will make him eternal, alive, and make him immortal throughout his life. Throughout his
Life. Describe your impression of both the sisters, Mrs. Slater and Mrs. Jordan.
Yeah, Mrs. Slater and Mrs. Jordan are very greedy. They are very selfish. They are very crafty and cunning. Mrs. Slater's way of shifting the bureau from grandfather's room into her room clearly suggests that she was greedy of wealth, greedy of money. And the way, Mrs. Jordan kept herself away from the grandfather in the old days. She didn't even live with the gentleman. She left alone with her family. She didn't ever visit the house of Mrs. Slater to see and know about the old gentleman. She hardly bothered about what the old gentleman was meant for. She didn't have any love or affection for her father. She came only on the day when she came to know that her father was dead, just to, divide the property. She didn't have any of the lust and any other desire. She didn't have any affection for her father. Like Mrs. Slater, she was also greedy, and she wanted an equal share of the property of her father. So we can say that both these ladies are crooked, greedy, and selfish. They are mean-minded, and so they deserve the same kind of treatment that Abel Merriweather provided them. Next question.
What do the words on the pedestal, "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings," convey about Ozymandias?
Yeah, Osmania was a very arrogant and very authoritative king. He didn't have any love for his people. He only ruled the people by virtue of his power and by his arrogance. The things written, "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings," on the pedestal, on the base of the statue, clearly suggests that he was very proud and arrogant. He didn't have any friendly attitude towards his people. The writing on the pedestal clearly suggests his arrogance, his, pride, and his unfriendly behavior with his people. Next question, Manis.
Why were the ghosts angry with Ojabot fanatics?
Yeah, the ghosts were troubled by the people on the earth. The Ojabot fanatics always use Ojabot. They play Ojabot on the earth and call the ghosts anytime and every time. The ghosts were called by the people that come from heaven on the earth just to answer the question of the people. So the Ojabot fanatics often trouble the ghosts by calling them anytime and every time from the heaven, coming on the earth and asking and putting their questions on them. So they were troubled all the time. That is the reason why they were annoyed and they were going on a strike.
The Nightingale could not see through the game plan of the frog. What trait is highlighted in the poem which is needed to survive in the world?
Yeah, the modern world is full of, dual-hearted people. The frog is also symbolic of all those people who are crafty, cunning, and dual-hearted. The nightingale was servile and innocent. She didn't have any articulation of life. She didn't read out the real intention of the frog. She failed to judge the real intention of her rival. She just thought that the frog was going to help her become a star performer. But the fact that she lacked the judgment, being illusioned by the judgment, she fell as a trap, as a victim to the crafty frog who exploited her and led her to death. So the poem also teaches us that in this world of craftiness, in the world of cunningness, we need to have good judgment. We need to have a fine judgment of our people. Unless we know how to judge the people, how to judge the situation, we are likely to suffer. The nightingale failed to judge the intention of the frog, resulted into her exploitation, and eventually she had to lose her life for no reason. This clearly suggests that one has to be quick in judgment, one has to be clever and sharp in judgment in order to survive in this world of crooks.
Ozymandias' boast could never be justified. Explain.
Yeah, Ozymandias' ghosts were artificial or imaginary characters. They could not exist. The ghost Helen, who was often talked about in this story, appeared as if it was just an imagination of the writer. How could, I mean, a ghost come and just exist like segments and form a cartoon like that? This clearly suggests that the appearance of Ghost Helen was something beyond the imagination. Secondly, the reappearance of the Ghost Helen at the party, Ojabot party, was also a question to be unbelieved. The woman saw, somebody talking behind the screen. That means the Ojabot fanatics could hear the voice of, the ghost talking, which is not possible practically. So the things that have been plotted in this story by John Hallock, it appears that somehow, somewhere, the ghosts were being, made live, which was not reliable. Not reliable.
Describe the frogs training to the nightingale in singing. What is the real intention of the frog?
Yeah, the frog started imparting training to the nightingale even in the rain. He started, motivating her to sing even in the rain. And as a result, the bird, got her voice harsh and she lost her melodious appeal. She had to sing for more than 6 hours in the rain. He motivated her to sing by putting a scarf around her neck, and he said that, come my dear, come, we'll sing together. But the poor bird didn't know that she will spoil her melodious appeal by singing in the rain. This clearly suggests that the frog was, were all set to spoil her musical supremacy. The way he asked her to copy the style of his singing, this also, spoiled her melodious appeal. He asked her to sing like the frog. This clearly suggests that he was imparting a wrong training. The bird herself was a melodious singer. She didn't need any more training. But as the bird trapped her into the plan, the only plan of the frog was to spoil her musical supremacy and lead her to death. And the frog succeeded to the great extent in getting rid of his rival by killing the innocent bird, the nightingale. So we can say that the training imparted by the frog was totally wrong and undesired. It was a training particularly and especially to spoil her musical supremacy and lead the bird to death. That's all today. Thank you very much. कितना मिनट हुआ?